Very good morning, dear faculty members. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your response. We will start at 10:30. There's a slight change today because one of the session speaker who was actually scheduled to take this session in the morning, for some reason he couldn't come for this session. So we have to replace him with another speaker. So instead of Professor Dr. Rajesh Nair, we will have Professor Dr. Hemant Sharma, who will be delivering the lecture today in the morning session. Rest everything is fine. In fact, Dr. Rajesh Nair has promised that he will take this session on a later date. So I hope I could fix him somewhere, because otherwise all the schedules are packed. But still I would see where I could include you, because I don't want you to miss his lecture, because I have personally seen and listened his lecture. He's really an expert in research methodology, especially when we talked about mixed methods. So still he will be with us, but not today, some other day. So to replace him, today we have Professor Dr. Hemant Sharma. He is equally good, and he is a Pro Vice Chancellor in GNA University in Punjab. So again, an expert in research methodology. And he was kind enough to accept my invitation. I called him yesterday night, and at the 11th hour, he accepted my invitation, and he will be joining us today at 10:30. Right. Thank you all of you for participating. And I remember when I go to class, I always say to my students that I need two things from you. One is discipline, and another is your regularity, your punctuality in the classes. And I am lucky that in this faculty development program, I am seeing the same regularity and punctuality in all the sessions. Like in every session, more than 150 participants are joining. Some of them have personally requested me to put these sessions on YouTube so that they can even further listen it in their free time. So far everything is fine. It's going well, and I would like to express my special thanks to all of you for showing your interest and for participating in this faculty development program. Thank you, one and all. Morning, faculty members. And just waiting for the session speaker to join. Once he joins, we will immediately start the session. Morning, sir. Am I audible, sir? Dr. Hemant Sharma, sir. Dr. Hemant Sharma, sir. I could see you. I mean, you have joined. Could you hear me? Am I audible to you, sir? Hello. Hello. Dr. Hemant Sharma, sir. Could you hear me?
Sir, you can ask him, maybe his laptop's sound is not of that level. So although he's speaking, but we are unable to hear his voice. You can ask him telephonically.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, Dr. Mukesh. छोड़ो नहीं। Yeah, hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Actually, now I have removed the earphone.
Okay, okay, fine.
Right.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Uh,
Am I clearly audible, sir?
Yes,
sir,
sir.
now,
Yes, sir.
now you are audible.
Right. Actually, last night we had very heavy rain in Jalandhar, sir.
Okay,
That's why.
okay. Yes, sir. Now we
Dr.
can.
Mukesh, we can start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were just waiting for you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Right.
Dear all faculty members, good morning and welcome to the fourth day of this faculty development program on holistic development and outcome-based education in the light of NEP 2020. The theme for today is trends in research, and the eminent speaker for this session is Professor Dr. Hemant Sharma. He is Pro Vice Chancellor at GNA University in Punjab. Sir, it's a privilege to have you here on this platform. On behalf of UEM Jaipur, I welcome you and pay my gratitude to accept our invitation in the 11th hour. It reflects your willingness to be a part of this holistic development of faculty members. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, before I hand over this session to you, I would like to introduce you to all the faculty members. Professor Dr. Hemant Sharma, he is currently the Pro Vice Chancellor at GNA University in Fagwada in Punjab. He is an accomplished academician and a visionary administrator having a total experience of around 30 years. During his long stay in academics, he has immensely contributed to all verticals of academics from strategic planning, policy formulation, teaching, research, guiding PhD scholars, outcome-based curriculum development with course objectives and program objectives, continuous evaluation, mentoring of teachers and students, accreditations and rankings, and profitability of different management programs, etc. He is an acclaimed auditor for NAC, NIRF, NB accreditations, and many other quality surveys. He is a perfect blend of corporate and academics. He did his bachelor's of engineering from NIT Nagpur, then master's from Birla Tets Bihani in the year 1997 and 1999 respectively. He has served in corporate sector for almost 5 years, and then finally he came into academics in the year 2004. Most of the research work is on the power sector. He has guided several PhD scholars, and he is a member of consolidated panel of PhD examiners of many reputed universities. He is an invited expert in the board of studies of many reputed business schools. He has conducted over 50 faculty development programs, workshops for faculty members. He is a well-recognized expert of statistical software such as SPSS, ADENCO, JAMOVI, and R, etc. He has credible publications in Emerald, ABDC, and Scopus index journals. He has been the member and he has developed MOOCs for quantitative methods under the EPG Pathshala initiative of Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Government of India. Sir, it's it's a long profile. In a nutshell, I would say that you are a gem of a person, and it is really an honor to have such an academician, such an expert resource person to address this august audience. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Over to you, Professor Dr. Hemant Sharma.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Mukesh, for such a wonderful introduction. Though I do not deserve, for so much things, but yeah, I have been trying for last many years to contribute in the education sector, in academics. So otherwise, I am simply a professor, sir, right?
No, sir, this is
Yeah,
your
Being an academician, yeah, these all are my additional responsibilities. So, okay, meanwhile, I am also trying to connect with the, earphone on other laptop. So,
Sure,
but
sir.
yeah, right now I can start here, right, sir?
Right.
So a very good morning to all the participants. So I can see there are around 70 participants 82 participants in this faculty development program on research methodology.
More will be joining, sir.
Yeah, more will be joining. Yeah, right, sir. So, dear participants, today I am going to discuss with all of you, some fundamentals of the research. What is the research, exact meaning of the research, what exactly we do in the research, right? And the basic steps or the a brief idea, a synoptic view about the research methodology. So I am going to share this PPT. Share screen now, madam. Share screen. Right. So I hope the PPT is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Right. So, my dear participants, I am starting with the basic definition of the research. So here you can see the basic definition. The research is a systemic process of collecting and analyzing the data in order to increase our understanding of the phenomena about which we are concerned or interested. So this is the bookish definition which we usually discuss with the MBA level students. But you all are the faculty members, you all are the esteemed faculty member, researcher. So this definition is not suffice for you people, right? So here I will give you, a very basic thing about the research from whichever domain you are from. You may be from the engineering domain, management domain, allied sciences, social sciences, psychology. In research, basically what we do. Well, this is the bookish definition. It's okay. We are collecting the information, we are analyzing it. Finally, we are getting the results, and then we are making some recommendations or the suggestions to come across the given problem, research problem. So here, before proceeding, I must tell you one thing. I am concerned only with the applied research, not with the pure research. In applied research, what we do, we are taking the help of the pre-established theories, models, right, to give a solution of any particular problem, which we identify in the beginning of our research. So all these steps, all the rules will be applicable only for the applied research, right? I'm not going to discuss anything about the pure research. That is entirely different concept, right? So basically in research, what we do, I try to infuse the fundamental thing about the research. In research, you must be knowing the term variable. Variable, anything that changes over the period of time, right? My height, my income, my salary, or my number of friends, like that. Anything revenues of government, GDP of country, inflation rate, anything that keeps changing over the period of time, that is variable. And there is second term, constant. Constant. Constant means that is fixed. That is never ever changing. Okay, what is the distance between the earth and sun? It is constant. What is the diameter of the sun? What is the diameter of the earth? It is constant. I really do not know about what will happen after 5,000 years, 10,000 years. But as per my understanding, these all things are constant. They are not going to change over a very, very long time period. So here, what one important learning for us, that in research, we are concerned only with the variables. There is no place for the constant in the research. So the prime requirement of any research is the variable. You must have some variables. Number one, variable that is changing, right? There should be variations. There should be variations. There should be variables. Only then we can go for the research, right? So if you are really interested to go for a research, if you are really interested to give a solution to a particular problem, first of all, you need to establish the fact that in this particular phenomena, variations are there. Variations exist. I give you a very simple example. Once you establish the presence of the variations, then you have the license to go further in that side for the further research. So the first step in any research, there should be variations. So through the literature review, there is a very good friend of the researcher, that is the literature review. At every stage of your research, it is going to help. So first of all, you need to establish the variations, presence of the variations. After that, in the second level research, we observe whether these variations are significant or not, statistically significant or not. If these variations are not significant, it means these variations are by chance only. These variations are by chance. These variations exist not because of any, any other effect, any other factor. Means these variations are existing just by chance, because these variations are negligible in amount. But if these variations are significant in amount, then we have to go further. Since the variations are significant, it means there are some other factors because of which these variations are existing. These variations are existing. So in the next level research, we also need to find out those factors because of which these variations are existing, right? And in the last level of research, we also try to find out the effect of each and every factor in the presence of these variations. So there are three basic steps in the research. Number one, you need to establish the fact that variations exist. Then you see the significance of the variations. These are not significant or these are significant. If these are not significant, you are not required to proceed further, right? Because these are just by chance. If these variations are significant, then you need to again take the help of your friend literature review, and then you need to find out which are the possible factors because of which these significant variations exist. And in the third level research, that is the highest level of any research from whatever domain you are from, right? In the highest level of research, you also need to measure the impact of each and every factor on the total variations, right? So three major levels of any research. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Right,
Yes, sir.
right. Now I give you a very simple example, right? Suppose I am a teacher of quantitative techniques in the subject of quantitative techniques. Now I am teaching, 3 sections of MBA. To make it more simple, suppose I take 2 students, right? 2 students, and I record their, and I observe their marks in the QT subject. Now it is okay, madam? Lead काम कर रही है. So one student scores 80%, 80 out of 100. One student is, gets 90 out of 100. 80 and 90 out of 100. So variation is there. Variation is there. Now we need to see this difference, this variation, 80 and 90. How much variation is there? 10. Now you need to prove statistically whether this magnitude 10, it is significant or not. If you see it by the naked eyes, it appears to be very small on a scale of 100, 10, only 10%. But no, in research, we have to prove everything statistically.
So we can't open with that.
So I need to request them.
Yes, sir, we can. Yes, sir, we can request.
Yeah, Dr. Mukesh, actually, you have not given the permission to use this, earphone.
So you
want to unmute on the another request.
you are the co-host, sir. You have all the permissions.
He is saying he's already. Sir, here message is appearing. The host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves.
Okay, sir. Let me allow you.
Yeah. Actually, I have logged in from the another laptop.
You need the permission.
See it now, sir.
Sir, kindly unmute yourself from that next laptop.
System, sir.
Yeah.
Right?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Now you're audible.
Yeah, sir. This is fine. इसको अलग कर दीजिए मैं कल से. Right one. Thank you. So once we have proved that this difference of 10 marks, it is not significant. You must be knowing the level of significance. We usually work at 5% level of significance, 1%, 10%. So I hope you are aware of all those things. So suppose at 5% level of significance, I come to understand that it is not significant. If it is not significant, it means now you cannot go further in this research. Means you cannot explore this thing further, why this difference exists, what are the factors because of which this difference in the performance is there, because this difference is not significant, right? But suppose you find that it is a significant difference of 10 marks. So now it becomes important for the researcher to understand what are the possible factors because of which the variation, this difference exists. Now you will go to the next step. Now you will take the help of your friend, previous papers, previous studies, your experience. What are the possible causes because of which, this difference in this performance in this particular subject exists. So it can be because of the family background of the student. It can be because of the interest area of the students. It can be because of any private tuition. It can be because of the, the way of teaching of the teacher. So there may be, hundreds of the n number of the parameters which can instrumental in bringing this significant variation in the performance of these two students. So you will be collecting the data on all these possible parameters, right? This is second level research. In the third level, you will also see the effect of each and every parameter. Means obviously there are a number of parameters, and these all parameters combinedly affect the performance of any student. Then you will see, okay, these are in the total variations, what is the contribution of the way of teaching of the teacher? What is the contribution of the family background of the student? What is the contribution of the interest of the student? So in this way, we will try to explain 100% variations. So you know the value of R square. I know, I hope you must be aware of, if value of R square coefficient of determination is around 60%. If we are able to explain even the 60% variations out of 100% variations, we say that we have done a very good research. We have explained, the maximum possible parameters of deviation, of variations. So yes, but nowadays, we see many studies even on the PhD level where students are finding the value of R square 95%, 98%. So these all are the dubious research. I don't believe in such kind of the results. Okay, if you are able to bring the value of R square 98%, 99%, right? It means you are the god. आप तो भगवान बन गए in that particular domain, in that particular area, phenomenon, in explaining that phenomenon. Am I clear? If the R square is more than 95%, you are almost equal to the god. But it should never happen. It should never happen. I am not trying to say that the scholars are, they are, manipulating the data or manipulating the results. No, it's because of the, problem with the review of literature. They have most probably not identify the correct parameters because of which these variations exist, or most of the times the personal experience of a scholar becomes very, very problematic. Okay, I being the teacher, okay, for last so many years, I personally believe that this parameter A is very important to affect the performance of a student, which actually is not. But personal biasness is always a problem in the research, and we all are the human being, and we cannot avoid it. Knowingly or unknowingly, cautiously or uncautiously, our personal feeling, our personal opinion, okay, that certainly creeps into the process in this research process. It should be avoided. Okay, if your value of R square is more than 60 or 65%, then okay, it is alarming. It is alarming. Okay, you need to again see all the parameters, whether you have taken these parameters based on your genuine research review of literature, or it should be genuine. Only then you can find the value of R square reasonably good 60-65%. In 90%, 95%, these are not the accurate values, right? So basically in research, we are playing with the variables. Okay, we are talking about the variations only. If variations are there, then okay, we have the license to go for the research and until ultimately get some solution. In case of the constants, no scope for the research. Am I clear?
Right.
Right. So now I directly come on the I will keep telling you everything about the different stages of the research. I am going to discuss all essential stages in the research, whether it is exploratory, descriptive, or causal. First, I show you all the steps, then I will be discussing all the types of the research. Here is a diagram actually. Yes. Can you see the diagram?
Yes, sir, we can.
Right, sir. So this is the complete process of research. So it includes each and everything, okay, in research design, what you need to cover, the complete research methodology. So I briefly discuss all the stages. You know, research is a systemic process. Research is a systemic process. So these all are the steps which you need to follow in this particular sequence only. You are not allowed to skip any of these steps, or, you know, it's not your choice. It is a systemic process. You need to follow one by one each and every step. So since we are concerned only with the applied research, right? So in the applied research, you know, first of all, you must have a research problem. Okay, you must have an issue, a research question. In applied research, basically our concern is only to give a solution to that particular problem. So first of all, you should have a problem. Now, this is the area where every scholar needs to spend an appreciable amount of the time, of the total allotted time of the research. This is the problem area. So whatever problem you identify, it should be a genuine problem. Again, here is the problem. What is the main issue? That you, again, based on your personal experience in that particular sector, okay, whatever you feel that it's really a problem. Suppose I am the general manager in the insurance sector for last 30 years, and based on my long experience, I feel that attrition rate in the insurance sector is very high, because I have been here for last 30 years. I feel so. Yes, it could be right, it could be wrong, but it is a problem. To prove it a genuine problem, a real problem, you need to give, you know, a large number of these previous studies in the support. Your experience alone is not suffice to prove this issue a real problem of the insurance sector. So here your friend, your review of literature is very, very, you know, is playing very, very significant role. Your problem should be supported by large number of the authentic studies, by the various reports, by the various authentic documents. Now, since I belong to the management domain, so I usually prefer to go with the case study method to arrive at a suitable problem, research, to define my research problem. Otherwise, there are different techniques: experience survey, pilot survey, secondary case study. For the engineering domain, these methods are not applicable. So every domain has its own, you know, techniques to arrive at a suitable research problem. But here, important thing is, here I am not going to discuss, it is a complete discussion of 5 to 6 hours to arrive at a suitable problem, right? But here you must know one thing, that your problem should be a genuine problem. Suppose in the beginning you identify a problem which is not a genuine problem, right? Based on my experience or based on the opinion of 3, 4, 5 prominent people of that sector, you start your work with a research problem, right? And you do a splendid work for 3 years, 4 years, And after 4 years, when you appear for the final Viva Voce examination and your external examiner asks you, okay, that your problem is not an actual problem. It is not a genuine problem. I don't think so. It is a genuine problem. At that time, you will have to prove that yes, it is a genuine problem. So at that time, what will you do? Sir, I am having a no experience, or my 3 or 4 friends told me that it is a problem. So it will not be a proper justification. So at that time, you need to present a lot of, documentary evidence. Sir, you can check all these documents, and by referring all these documents, I have reached to this problem. In research, your personal biasness has no space. Everything, every word you write in your thesis, in your report, that should be supported by the previous work. So you need to be very, very cautious in the identification of the research problem. And you must have read, means how to define the research problem. We are using a funnel shaped approach. We start from this much, and slowly, eventually, we finally, end with a very, very specific research question. Right? In the beginning, there are many ideas. Suppose, for instance, I want to do a research in the area of the women empowerment. Then you will make some review of literature, then you will confine the scope. No, I will want to study women empowerment in India. Then again, I want to study women empowerment in India during the regime of NDA government only. So in this way, you keep reducing the scope of your research. Right? And finally, you will reach after 5, 6 time filtering. Okay, you will be reaching to a particular, very, very specific research question. That becomes the purpose of your research. Your research question is the purpose of your research. You want to find a suitable solution to this particular purpose, to this particular problem. Right? So it's a long process, actually. It's a long process. Here you really need to, means being a PhD supervisor, I always suggest my scholars to be very, very, patient in the beginning. They are advised that spend 5 to 6 months only on the review of literature, so that you can identify your problem, clearly. It should be very, very precise problem. Is it okay?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Right. So in your domain, you see what you can do your best, okay, to identify a suitable research problem. But here, आजकल सब कुछ चलता है. But if you are doing any genuine work, and if you are going to pursue your PhD or any other research work in any reputed foreign university, so there it is a very, very important area for the examiners. Means they ask you to justify that it is a genuine research problem. In their PhD viva, this is the first question. Justify the research problem of your study. So then you must have, bundle of the documentary evidence. Right. So here I assume that you will be defining your research problem, right, using the funnel shaped approach, and finally you will come with a specific research question. That becomes the purpose of your study. Now, the next step is the objectives of your research. Objectives of your research. Now listen to me very, very carefully. Here I have written, yes, statement of research objectives. Yes, Now, you will be defining the objectives of your research. The research problem, once you have identified the research problem, you have finalized the research question, research problem, research question, same thing. Now, this is the purpose of your research. How will you meet this purpose? Right? So the way to meet the purpose of your research is the objective of your research. So objectives, you can refer the objectives of the research as the way to accomplish the purpose of your research. Right? Usually your research question, it's very small in length. Okay? Means improving the sale of the company. This is my research problem. Very small problem. Improving the sale of the company. So I need to suggest the ways to improve the sale of the company. This is my research problem. Now, what do you think? Means how to improve the sale of the company. What do you think? Is it a small problem? It appears very small in improving the sales of the company, but is it really a small problem to solve? You can improve the sale of the company because of by acting on hundreds of the parameters. You can improve the quality of your product. You improve the morale of the employees, sales force. You can improve the incentive. Okay, you can improve your R&D activities. You can come with product with the better design, better features. Okay, you can implement better marketing strategies. You can offer number of the discounts, number of the rebates, number of the promotion coupons to your customers. Am I correct? You can decrease the price of your product. So there are so many parameters to improve the sale of your company. So how will you accomplish this purpose? Is it possible for you to study all the possible parameters? Is it possible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are listening.
Yes. Yeah. So I think your audience has no right to speak.
No, sir. They can.
So why are they so silent?
They can respond to you. If you ask them in any question in specific, they will reply.
So I am asking from Dr. Snehalata Dhaka. Am I clear?
Sir. Thank you, sir.
No, my question is it possible for a researcher to study all possible factors which
Not
are
at all.
going?
Not at all, sir. Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
We have to confine ourselves to certain
Yes.
factors.
Yes.
Then only we can justify with the research.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
So here what I am trying to tell you, actually, there are companies, McKinsey is there, E&Y is there, they are the expert research agencies. Okay, a company goes to these agencies, right? Sir, please help us. For last 6 months, 7 months, our sales has been declining. Okay, so we do not know the reason. Please advise us so that our sale can be improved. So these are the professional agencies. They know what is happening nowadays in this particular sector, in that particular sector. Suppose you are a FMCG company. So the McKinsey people are knowing for last 6 months what is happening in the FMCG sector. Okay, what are the most prominent parameters because of which the FMCG sale has been declining. So they set their objective keeping in view only those prominent parameters. and they advise the company, you do this, you do this, you do this. Objective number 1, you do this. Objective number 2, you do this. Objective number 3, you do this. Okay, by accomplishing these 3 objectives, you will accomplish your problem. The solution to the problem of your research. So basically, it's a kind of the software, right? Basically, what is a software? It is made in a number of the parts. So when you join all the objectives, it becomes your problem only. Suppose I'm repeating, objective is a way to answer to your research problem, to find out the solution to your research problem. Okay. So it is a complete software. It is a complete software. Research problem is a complete software. And it is, solution is given in parts. Number 1 objective, number 2, number 3. Suppose you meet the objective number 1. It means you have given 30% solution. You meet objective number 1 and 2. You have met 70% solution. Suppose you met all objectives. It means you have got 100% solution to the problem. Right? So we are trying to find out the solution in different parts by the help of setting the objectives of our study. Now again, this is the area. Where is the cursor? You please keep your eyes on the cursor. This is the problem and this is the objective. So from the problem, you will design the objectives of your research. Now, this is the area where your supervisor has a great role. Just a minute. Hello. 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 This is the most prominent area of your research. How to bifurcate the problem into the objectives. This is the major area where your supervisor is playing a very, very significant role. Actually, what happens, we all know. But actually, what we need to do, we need to take the help of the, at least 4 to 5 experts at this stage of our research, including our supervisor. You try to understand your problem is being solved by accomplishing the objectives. So one thing is definite, that there is a clear-cut relationship between the objectives and the research problems. Yes, Sunita Rani, just a minute. Just a minute. Right? There is a relationship between the objectives and the research problem. And what happens, scholars, because they are very hurry people, right? They are in hurry. They do not make sufficient review of literature. Okay, they hardly visit to their supervisors and they hardly visit to any other expert, right? Their focus is on completion of the work and they design the objective of their study just by their common sense, And most of the times, nowadays, supervisors are also not having much knowledge about the research, right? To be very frank, and they are also, moreover, they are not giving the adequate time to their researchers. So that is really a problem. Now here, what I am trying to tell, if you have set the objectives, which actually has no connection with your problem, So ultimately, what will happen? What will happen if your objective, I am repeating, if your objective number 2 is not connected with the problem actually, right? So ultimately, at the end of day, it is not going to contribute in the solution to the problem because there is no relationship between the objective and problem, right? And suppose based on the result of the objective number 2, आपने कंपनी को सजेशन दे दिया कि भाई आप ना 3 करोड़ रुपए R&D पे खर्च कर दीजिए, ये ऑब्जेक्टिव नंबर 2 जो R&D वाला है ये कह रहा है आपको R&D पे काम करने की जरूरत है, स्पेंड 2-3 करोड़ ऑन R&D एक्टिविटीज, उसमें ये इंप्रूव करो, ये इंप्रूव करो एंड योर सेल विल बी इम्प्रूव्ड। और कंपनी ने आपका कहना मान लिया, कंपनी ने 3 करोड़ रुपए खर्च कर दिया और फिर भी आफ्टर 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, 1.5 year, there is no improvement in the sales. होगा भी नहीं, क्योंकि objective number 2 was not connected with your problem in any way. So anything you do with the objective number 2, that is not going to help you to find the solution of the real research problem. So here what I am trying to tell you, bifurcation of your problem into objective, very, very important area of your research. If you have not designed your objectives appropriately, genuinely, what can happen? It is going to become the validity issue of your research. It is going to become a validity issue of your research. It means your research is not valid. Validity of research means your research is not finding what it intends to find. Your research is not able to give a solution to a problem what it intends. Okay, so breaking your problem into the objective is very, very important area. Yes, Sunita Raniji, please ask your question. You are raising the hand.
No, sir, she was raising
Yeah.
her hand for different reason.
Okay, for different. Yes, Sunita Raniji, please.
She was asking for attendance link and all that.
Okay.
But you,
So
you
it was for you, sir, hai na?
right.
Right. So here I believe, I hope that you have understood the significance of the objective designing. Again, objective designing is a very, very important, part of your research. Again, it needs complete 4 to 5 hours class workshop actually. So where we can practice designing the objectives. Objective, what I have been observing that most of the objective scholars, they set the objective by their common sense and their main focus is on the wordings of the objectives. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. कितनी अच्छी इंग्लिश हमने यूज करी है, कितना टिपिकल हमने वर्ड यूज किया है ना, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. ऑब्जेक्टिव का मतलब ये नहीं होता. स्टैटिस्टिकल ऑब्जेक्टिव जो हैं, they should be defined so clearly, so precisely कि कोई भी आदमी उस ऑब्जेक्टिव को देखे. मैंने इस ऑब्जेक्टिव को देखा. Just by viewing the objective, I should be able to tell or understand that how many, variables are there in this objective. I will be understanding what kind of research it is going to be. It is going to be descriptive, exploratory, or causal. I will be able to understand what kind of scale will be used, metric or non-metric data. I will be able to understand what kind of statistical analysis to be made in this particular objective. Means once you log the objective, now you have logged everything. You have logged everything. उसके बाद में आपके पास फ्रीडम नहीं है. होता क्या है, बच्चा कहता है, हम स्कॉलर से पूछते हैं, हाँ भाई बॉस क्या चल रहा है रिसर्च में? सर चल रहा है, बढ़िया चल रहा है. क्या चल रहा है? बस सर डेटा कलेक्ट हो गया है, एनालिसिस करना है. ठीक है, बताइए डेटा कैसे कलेक्ट किया, क्या किया आपने? सर ये डेटा कलेक्ट कर लिया. डेटा कलेक्ट करने के बाद में कहते हैं, सर मैं सोच रहा हूँ इस पे स्ट्रक्चरल इक्वेशन मॉडलिंग यूज करूँ. कई कहते हैं नहीं वो मुश्किल है, हम मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन यूज कर लेंगे. कोई कहता है नहीं इसमें तो हम ना वो कंजंक्ट एनालिसिस करेंगे. मतलब एवरी स्कॉलर हैज ऑन प्रेफरेंसेस और लाइकिंग डिसलाइकिंग्स. सो इट इज नॉट योर चॉइस which tool will be applied. It totally depends upon the requirement of your objective. Right? Data उन्होंने collect कर लिया है. मैंने क्वेश्चनर पढ़ा, मैंने देखा कि they have collected the non-metric data. You must be aware of the scales, data measurement techniques, nominal, ratio, categorical variable, ordinal scale. Right? मैंने questionnaire check किया, they have collected the data, okay, using the ordinal scale. And I see the objective. That objective can be accomplished only if we use the multiple regression. We are bound to use the multiple regression, right? And to use the multiple regression, I must have the metric data. And this student has collected the data using the non-metric scale, ordinal scale. Now, what to be done? Nothing. कुछ नहीं हो सकता. अब कुछ नहीं हो सकता. So, what is the right kind of the approach when you claim that yes, sir, I have set my objectives? Then I will assume that now you know the variables of your study. I know what scale to be used in every objective to collect the data on the different variables. I also know what kind of statistical tool or analysis will be used in this objective, in this objective, in this objective. Designing the objective, setting the objective means you have logged each and everything. Now your road is ready. Okay, अब आप इस पे फर्राटे से भागना शुरू कर दीजिए. रोड बिछाने में टाइम लगता है, उसके बाद चलने में टाइम नहीं लगता. तो यहां तक जो स्टेप है आपका डिजाइनिंग योर ऑब्जेक्टिव, यू मस्ट डिवोट आइडियली 10 months, नॉट लेस देन 10 months. यहां तक आपने काम कर लिया जनरली, उसके बाद कहीं कोई दिक्कत नहीं. उसके बाद तो बड़ी सिंपल सी बात है. राइट. So after having decided the objectives of your study, now next is, what kind of research it is going to be. Here you need to take a decision, right? Probably I have not shown it in the PPT. एक चीज होती है research design. It should be descriptive or exploratory or causal. So I hope you must be knowing the basics of the descriptive research. Descriptive research means simply where we are describing a given phenomenon, right? I am the marketing officer in a company. I want to understand the, demography of my customers, description of my customers, right? So for that, I will be asking different questions. What is your age? What is your income group? Okay, what is your family members? Okay, number of family members, your occupation, like that. Okay, and I will be simply collecting the information on all these things, and I will be knowing my target customers. That's all. I need to simply describe the given situation, given phenomenon, right? Statistically, अगर मैं बात करता हूँ in descriptive research, we are usually concerned with the central tendency or the or the scatteredness, which we also know as the variation, skewness, kurtosis, means we are simply want to define our data set. Right? Suppose मैंने अपने 500, my sample is 500. From the 500 people, I ask, okay, what is your monthly salary? So they give me the information. Now, what research I can do with this data set? I can only go for the mean median mode. I can only go for the standard deviation or mean deviation, whatever it is. Or I can see the shape of the, the distribution of the data set. Skewness and kurtosis, which is technical term. That's all. So in descriptive research, we simply describe our data set, or I can say that we simply calculate the mean median mode or deviation, or determine the shape of the items or frequency distribution of the data set. That's all. Whether it is normally distributed or it is skewed leftward or rightward, what is the peakerness of the distribution? Okay, all are important things. Okay. Now, in exploratory research, when we are not knowing anything, so obviously we take the help of our friend, right? Review of literature. So we need to explore the things, explore the concept, explore the issue from the different perspectives. We are meeting the people, we are meeting the experts, or we are going through the various types of the research theses, websites. Means we try to explore that issue in all possible ways. Okay, so obviously this is the part of any research study. Similarly, in any research study, when we collect the information of the variables, so we are bound to calculate the mean, median, mode, deviation, or etc. So descriptive and exploratory research, by default, these two are the part of any research, right? And in the causal research, then again, this is the highest level of the research, in which we see different types of the relationships. Here we also need to prove that this variable is dependent variable, this variable is independent variable, right? Now, I will not discuss in the detail the type of the variable. Okay, independent variable, also known as the controlled variable, criterion variable, which we can change, which we can control. Okay, and dependent variable whose value depends upon the independent variable, change in the dependent variable. Like, the law of demand. Okay, when price, there is inverse relationship between the price and the sales of any demand of any commodity, right? When increase the price, demand will be lesser, decrease the price, demand will be higher, right? So here, what is the independent variable? Price, because company can change the price, not the demand. So price is the controlled variable. When we control the price, there will be fluctuation in the demand of that commodity. So demand is the dependent variable, it is independent variable, right? In your research, you will be identifying the dependent or independent variable by the review of literature only. Okay, this is the concept. This is based on the concept of the covariation. So, but in our research, in our PhD research, we directly take the help of the review of literature, and if review of literature suggests that this is the independent variable, this is that, then okay, we approve that. So in the most of the cases, we are using a combination of all these three types of the research. Now, here, what research method will you use? Research method, usually we classify the research methods based on the data collection technique. Right? How will you collect the data? For me, as a researcher, data collection is the most difficult portion of your research, because everything is set in your research, but collecting the correct data I'm emphasizing the term correct data. Collecting the correct data is the biggest challenge for the researcher. You cannot collect the correct data even from the 10 people. And in our research, we claim that we have gathered the data from 500 or 1,000 people. And we also claim that it is a genuine data, correct data. Yes, from your side, it is a correct data. You genuinely approached 500 people and they answered you, right? But you are not confirmed whether their response is genuine or not. How will you know? How will you know? Right? So please, किसी कंफ्यूजन में मत रहिएगा कि आपने डेटा में बड़ी मेहनत करी है कलेक्ट करने के अंदर और बड़ा हमने करेक्ट डेटा कलेक्ट किया है, कभी नहीं करता, कोई नहीं करता, ठीक है? कई इशू है, बात करेंगे हम. So here, how will you generate the data? How will you collect the data? It is very important. So there are mainly 4 types of the research methods. Experimental research, physics people, chemistry people, they are doing the experiments in the laboratories, in the labs. Okay, by the experimentation, they are creating the data. They keep recording the readings. Okay, they keep noting all the values. Okay, when voltage is this, current is this, when voltage is this, current is this. So they generate the data by means of the experimentation. So this is the experimental research. So we are bound to go with the experimental research domain of the allied sciences. So we are bound. Chemistry का practical तो lab में ही होगा, right? Data वहाँ पे experiment से ही generate कर पाएंगे, किसी से पूछे तो नहीं कर पाएंगे. Then survey-based research. Survey-based research, in this we collect the primary data mainly, and since it is a primary data, it is first-hand information. So we are approaching our people of our interest, sample जिसको बोलते हैं, and we are asking the different question from these people. Now, how to collect the information on different variables from the people, from the sample people. This is the biggest challenge. We can use the telephone, we can ask any question using the telephone. Nowadays, we are using the internet, email, social media, right? We can ask the information on using all social media. Usually what we do, we prepare a questionnaire. That again is a very big challenge for the researcher. Designing of questionnaire, there are different issues in the questionnaire, right? So we design a questionnaire and the scholar then take this questionnaire to the person, to the people in your sample, right? And you can give it to your customers, your people, some respondents, and they will fill it and they will send it to you, or you can administer it on the personal level. Every technique, whatever technique nowadays you are making the Google Doc, okay, the people are responding on the Google Doc and you get the data directly in your Excel file. Very, very convenient. So there are the different techniques, and over the period of time, lot of changes have been happening, right? Now, every technique of data collection has its own pros and cons, merit or demerits. It totally depends upon your adjustment or your level of comfort, right? If I am able to collect the data using the Google Doc, that is the best thing for me. I directly get the data in the Excel file, right? But what is the guarantee people will be filling the Google Doc? Okay, then there is no guarantee at all they are going to provide you the correct information. No, right? So they will fill it just in the obligation, right? Otherwise, I am getting on daily basis 10 to 20 Google Docs, Google Forms of the PhD scholars. So I am not going even to open all these forms. I directly delete it from my email box. Right? Why should I? I'm not being paid for this. Why should I waste my 5 minutes if I'm not knowing the scholar? Okay, if a scholar is by known, he is making a call, sir, please, आप उसको fill कर दीजिए, then I can think on it. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste my time. That's why I said in the beginning, data collection is the most difficult portion of your research. Genuine data, appropriate data, correct data, very difficult, right? Sometimes, you know, in your research, you have some sensitive questions. Okay, suppose I am interested in the sir, how much you are investing in the mutual funds, how much you invest in the equity, how much in gold, or how much in bank saving. Okay, you ask this question from any other person, even from your father or from your real brother. You just ask, what do you think? Are you going to get the same actual reply? What do you think? Dr. Imran Khan? Dr. Imran Khan? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you. So, such sensitive information are never replied. So in this case, you have to go to your respondent on personal level with the questionnaire. There you need to take them in confidence, right? Then they can give you the actual information. Otherwise not. But you know, personal administration of questionnaire is very, very difficult task. Again, it's not possible for you to go to that person in that city, in that city, in that city. And availability of person again is a very big challenge. Okay, no one is ready to meet you, right? Okay, suppose you are doing any social survey, okay, on social issue, and you are asking a married person how many girlfriends you have. So is anyone going to give this information to you? No one, no one. So sensitivity of information, your resources in terms of time and availability of the capital with you, okay, and your comfort level, the time given to you to complete the research. These all are the real parameters which affect the choice of the data collection technique. Okay, then you can go for the survey method if you are comfortable with that. कौन सी technique use करनी है, it up to you. Then observation based research method. Yes, it is nowadays, it is very, very important to collect the correct data, and observation based research method is very, very popular nowadays, right? Usually what happens, usually we are all human beings, and it is our tendency to always, you know, not reveal the truth to unknown person. Okay, if I being the scholar, if I take the questionnaire to you, sir बताइए आपकी family member कितने हैं, आपका बच्चा कौन सी क्लास में पढ़ता है, sir what is your future plan, और sir आप कौन से मॉल से परचेज करते हैं, usually what items you purchase, usually how do you pay, by the debit card, by the credit card, और sir आप visa use करते हैं या master use करते हैं. Usually we prefer to keep away to reveal such information to the unknown people, even to the known people, right? So in this case, to avoid this problem, nowadays, you know, these professional research agencies, they are using the observation-based research. Okay, they have their people, right, at the points of their interest. You go to the Reliance Mall, okay, Reliance Digital, there they have the people, okay, they are observing you. They are observing you. They have the CCTV cameras, right? They know after that their complete record is on sale. What do you think? Their complete record is on sale. Okay, these companies, these professional agencies, they take the complete data from these people, right? ये बंदा था, ठीक है, कितनी बार विजिट करता है ये यहाँ पे, किस तरह का आइटम्स ले रहा है, कितना इसका टारगेट है, मंथली कितनी की परचेज कर रहा है, ये कैसे पे कर रहा है, सारी इंफॉर्मेशन हमके पास, सारी इंफॉर्मेशन, और सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मार्केट में आजकल बिकती है, आपको हमको नहीं पता होता है, सब ऑब्जर्वेशन बेस्ड डेटा है, they are observing you directly, or they have, tie-ups with these all sale people who are selling this information to these professional research agencies. Sometimes we are involved in the research where we are bound to use the observation method to collect the data. Suppose I am making any study on the wild animals or wildlife animals, right? So you must have observed on Geography Channel or Wildlife Animal channels. Suppose I am doing any study on the loin and on the behavior of the loin, and so in that case, obviously I cannot go to the loin directly. I cannot ask the loin directly, sir, at what time you go to sleep, at what time you may wake up in the morning, at what time you will like to have your breakfast or lunch. So I cannot ask all these questions from the Mr. Loin directly, right? So for this information, what I do, I install very high resolution camera in front of the cave of loin or at the different places near side the river where loin goes to take drink water or at different places. So over the 6 months, 7 months, I will keep observing the behavior of the loin, right? And after that, I will take a decision. Yes, Mr. Loin wakes up right at this time in the morning. Then he goes to drink the water at this time. And this way, this loin is catching the other animals. Everything is recorded, okay, by observation. So, secondary data, this is the easiest method of the research. You have the published reports, you have the published research, okay, you use your data. There are statistical abstracts of the various state governments, reports of the RBI, capital market, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Commerce. Their data are considered the most authentic data. You use your data in your research, okay, without any problem. No can challenge their data, and you get your results, quantitative studies, okay. So these all are the ways to collect data collection, okay. Based on the collection technique, data collection technique, we usually categorize our different types of the research methods. So once you have decided the type of research method, then obviously now next step is the sampling. Next step is sampling. Since the size of your population is very large, so you cannot collect the information from each and every person in your population of interest. So obviously we go for the sampling method, right? There are two methods, census survey and sampling method. Census survey is the best one, but due to various constraints, okay, lesser time, lesser resources, lesser expertise, less amount, researcher cannot go for the census survey. Sampling method is the best. Then in sampling, which method? Probability or non-probability? So probability sample, if the sample size is large, population size is large, in that case, probability sampling method is a myth. It is myth. We can never go with the probability sampling method. I am not discussing all these things in detail, just giving you a synoptic view. Probability sampling method, which is also known as random sampling method, only when your size of your population is very, very small, otherwise not. Or in other words, I can say if you are having a reference list, reference document that keeps the information of each and every person in the population of your interest. जैसे टेलीफोन डायरेक्टरी होती है, म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर ऑफिस के अंदर आपका रिकॉर्ड होता है, डॉक्यूमेंट होता है, वोटिंग डिपार्टमेंट में आपका रिकॉर्ड होता है। तो अगर आपके पास में कोई ऐसा रेफरेंस डॉक्यूमेंट है जिसमें आपके सभी का रिकॉर्ड उसमें मेंटेन है, तो आप रैंडम सैंपलिंग पे जा सकते हो, अदरवाइज आप रैंडम सैंपलिंग यूज नहीं कर सकते। ठीक है, यू हैव टू कॉम्प्रोमाइज विद द नॉन प्रोबेबिलिटी सैंपलिंग, राइट? In non-probability sampling, there are different types of the methods I'm not discussing, right? So once you have selected the sampling method, you have selected your sample. Okay, I assume that you went with the stratified sampling and you have selected, finalized the sample. Now, next step is the collection of the data. Now, how will you collect the data? ठीक है, आपको बता दिया है मैंने। यूजुअली द डेटा विच यू कलेक्ट दैट इज raw data. After that you need to go various types of the editing and the rectification. Okay, so these all are the things which we usually do in the workshop. Okay, how to clean the data, how to edit the data, right, before taking it for the final analysis. Various types of the techniques are there nowadays. Okay, we can rectify our data for different types of the errors. Some errors are human errors, some errors are बड़ी कॉमन एरर होती है जो मतलब कि हम कर देते हैं, 5 की जगह हमने 55 लिख दिया, राइट? इस बंदे ने हमें जजमेंट दिया है या नहीं दिया है रिस्पॉन्स, उसको भी हम पता कर सकते हैं। सपोज करिए इट इज a thing concerned with the questionnaire designing. So in questionnaire designing we insert some checkpoints to know the genuineness of the respondents, whether we need to trust on this person or not. So suppose in the question number 3 I asked the question, okay, are you married? And I gave him 2 options, yes and no, right? And he ticked on the no. Okay, then there is question number 22, how many kids you have? I gave him 4 options, 1 2 3, more than 3, and 5th none, and he ticked on the second. Okay, 2. He is not married but he has 2 kids. It means this person has filled the questionnaire with the closed eyes. So this person cannot be trusted since he has revealed the wrong answer to this question. So he cannot be trusted that he has given the right answer to other questions. So this questionnaire rejected, this person rejected. So we have different techniques. Then obviously data processing. Okay, data processing, analysis of data. So analytical tool is not our choice. It is not our choice. Depending on the requirement of the objective, we have to go for the statistical analysis. We have mainly 3 types of the analysis: univariate, bivariate, and multivariate. If you have only one variable, you have to go with the univariate analysis. If you have 2 variables, we can go for the bivariate analysis. If we have multiple variables, then we have multivariate analysis, right? All statistical tools are designed with specific assumptions, right? You must be knowing parametric tests, non-parametric tests. If your data are metric and it is normally distributed, only then you can go with the parametric tools, right? Otherwise you have to go with the non-parametric tests. For every parametric test there is a corresponding non-parametric test, but we always advise the students to go with the parametric tests because the power of parametric test is much more than the non-parametric tests, right? But here the question is, if my data are not normally distributed, then how to go for the parametric tests? Yes, genuine problem hai. If we are not meeting the assumption of the parametric test, then how can we apply that? So for that, we have nowadays various types of the transformation techniques. Okay, if our data are not normally distributed, we can transform this to make it normally distributed. Then we can use the parametric tests. So take the help of your supervisor. Okay, what kind of test will be applied? Okay, it is not your choice. I am repeating. Okay, आजकल लोगों को SEM का बड़ा बुखार चल रहा है. रिसर्च वर्ल्ड में आजकल स्ट्रक्चर इक्वेशन मॉडलिंग का बहुत बुखार चल रहा है. एवरी रिसर्चर वांट्स टू अप्लाई SEM. अरे भैया, अरे ऑब्जेक्टिव तो देख लो अपना, वहां पे SEM अप्लाई भी हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, ये आपकी चॉइस नहीं है ना. स्कॉलर्स आते हैं, सर मेरे को तो SEM ही लगाना है. अरे भाई क्यों लगाना है, क्यों लगाना है? आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स की डिमांड ही नहीं है ये. तो इन बातों को आपको देखना पड़ेगा. एंड फाइनली रिपोर्ट राइटिंग आपकी. सो रिपोर्ट राइटिंग आप थोड़ा इसको पढ़िएगा, रिपोर्ट राइटिंग में कैसे लिखते हैं, बट ऑल दीज स्टेप्स नीड्स टू बी कवर्ड. सो एनी क्वेश्चंस? दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड फॉर टुडे. एनी क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम योर साइड प्लीज? मोस्ट वेलकम.
So may I ask a question? Yes.
You are most welcome.
Sir, I want to ask that if we are doing a behavioral study, then to prove its correctness, isn't it enough to give the value of reliability and validity?
Good question. Good question. In qualitative research, usually we deal with the opinion of the people on particular issue, particular variable, right? What is your opinion towards this government or on the policy of this NDA government? So when we are collecting the opinion of the people, so to ascertain the genuineness of the opinion, yes, reliability analysis is there. You usually find out that value, Kronberg alpha value, right? But nowadays there is some advanced reliability analysis. I am forgetting the term. I am forgetting the term. Are you knowing different types of the validity? First to tell me.
Yes, sir. There are a number of validity tests like convergent, discriminant. These kinds of validity tests are there.
Yes. Actually, for any response to be reliable, first of all, it needs to be valid. आपको ना पहले वैलिडिटी चेक करनी है उसकी. अगर इसकी क्राइटेरियन वैलिडिटी और इसकी आप ये जो सेकंड आपकी होती है, ये जो कंटेंट वैलिडिटी, कंटेंट और क्राइटेरियन वैलिडिटी उसकी ओके है तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो रिलायबल होगा. आपको रिलायबिलिटी वैलिडिटी कंसेप्ट पता है? पहले ये बताइए मेरे को.
Sir, can you please make it in English? Because most of us don't understand.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Actually, the question is, when we are concerned with the qualitative study, when we deal with the opinion of the people on particular issue, so how to ensure the reliability of that response, right? So for this, I am discussing two important things: reliability and validity. Different types of validities are there. First, you need to ensure the content and criterion validity, right? If you meet these two validities, it will be reliable. This is the concept. But in research, statistically, you are usually calculating the value of alpha, Kronberg alpha, right? So if it is more than 0.6, then you say that it is reliable. Otherwise, it is not reliable, right? Nowadays, there is an advanced statistical term that is also a validity, reliability. It is more advanced than the Cronberg alpha. I am skipping the term. You just see in the Google or any other document, combined reliability or aisa kuch hai. I am skipping the term, right? You can also go for that kind of the reliability. But yes, of course, qualitative research is much difficult than this quantitative research. When you have the quantitative data, there are no issues of the quality, reliability and validity. But in case of the qualitative study, these are two major issues. Here you remember, if your study is valid, it would be reliable. If your study is valid, it will be reliable. But if your study is reliable, it is not necessary that it will also be valid. Isko note kar lijiye, it is your homework. What I'm trying to tell. If it is valid, it would be reliable. Right? But reverse is not true. If it is reliable, it may be valid, it may not be valid. Okay, I'm not discussing it.
Sir, this is Dr. Daraksha.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm, sir, that nowadays we are taking data from all the social networking sites, like from Facebook, from WhatsApp. And I think that data is non-probability sample. Because the data is...
This is data collection technique, madam.
Yeah. So will that data be non-probability or probability?
No.
Because you are collecting online, you are not using any random sampling, anything. I think that is non-probability.
No, madam, no. You are, mixing two different issues. One is sampling, second is that data collection from the sample.
Okay.
Right? So first you will select the sample. You select the sample by using probability or non-probability, I am not concerned. Suppose you collect a sample of 100 people. Okay. Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D, right? Now you may collect data from Mr. A through the questionnaire. You can collect the data from B using the Facebook. You can collect the data from C using the Instagram, right? So data collection technique can be different for different people in your sample.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Yeah, we could take one or two more questions. If there are few more questions, we can take them now. There's complete silence now. I don't know. Is there any other question or? Okay, I think there are no more questions.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm really thankful to you, sir, on such a short notice. You accepted this invitation and.
Sir, you are not visible to me. Yes, now you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And such a short notice. I mean, at the 11th hour, I made a call to you and you readily accepted. And the way you have explained the research process, I think so many things have now clarified. Yeah, and in a very short duration, you have covered the entire research process. So
yes,
I am really thankful to you, sir. And we are.
No, it's a privilege for me, sir, to connect with you after so long time.
Right.
Yeah. Now I can recall you, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this session. And
thank you, sir.
In future, we will further keep connected and we will further.
Sure. Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye to all the participants.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So dear participants, we are done with this session. Thank you all for your active participation. And we will be meeting again at 1:30 p.m. That will be post-lunch session and this session will be taken by Dr. Anuja Pandey, who is an associate professor from IMA, Delhi. So it's a very prestigious institute, All India Management Association. Those who are into management, they might be knowing about this organization. So we'll be meeting again at 1:30 p.m. Thank you so much for your participation. We'll see you and meet you again at 1:30 p.m. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, you can leave the meeting now.